Today's conversation is with Nina Fortuna Franks. Nina is a highly commercial online entrepreneur with over 4 decades of international experience. She has built and led 7 different companies from startup all the way through IPO. She has advised governments and global brands and run turnaround projects for household name companies. Today, her focus is on helping small business owners optimize their offer and build a reliable growth system that unlocks consistent sales without burning themselves out. In this conversation, we get into what keeps her ambitious after 40 plus years of being in the game and how small to medium sized businesses can outcompete bigger, better funded competitors by using her unique frameworks related to leverage, systems, and speed. If you're a founder, coach, or creator who wants to build something that lasts and supports the life that you actually want to live, what Nina shares in this conversation will give you a very different way of thinking about how you can approach that process and your growth. Now, here's my conversation with Nina Fortuna Franks. Nina, thank you so much for being here. You have built and scaled companies for more than 40 years. Sustaining the ambition necessary, sustaining the ambition required in order to really build a business is super rare, especially after as much success as you have had. So what keeps you driven after so many wins and so many chapters?
That is a really good question and quite a deep answer, I think. I've had some, well, they haven't all been wins. There have been some spectacular fails as well, but it's more a lesson, really. And the more of those lessons you get and the more you understand, them, the more effective you are. I think early on in my career, I had an opportunity. It was right when the dot-com was exploding in America. I had an opportunity to be in on that pretty much from the ground floor. And I caught that startup fever. The sort of flying by the seat of your pants sort of energy that you get from that, where anything's possible. And exposes you to a wide range of people like investors and stakeholders and clients. And I think that all of the businesses I've done since then, and I've been an advisor to governments and to very large established companies, nothing gives you a thrill more than working with SMEs and seeing them enter that explosive growth phase of their business. That's what really ignites me. And I think that's been my driver.
I love it. I love it. And that's a good segue into the next question that I had prepared, which is the fact that you have worked with governments, huge companies, luxury brands, companies operating all over the world. Yet I know your focus right now is serving small business owners. So can you dig a little bit deeper into what draws you to this segment and what you see in them that makes the work so meaningful for you?
It's really the personal stories behind it. When large companies are there to make money, that is their purpose. But SMEs are there really they have such a lot invested in delivering what they do, and they're so small that they get to see the impact that what they do has upon their clients. And they genuinely help people to improve in their business or in their health or whatever it is that they do. And also from a purely entrepreneurial perspective, it's really satisfying to see somebody with drive and ambition and an idea, but less experience, just come and work with them, and they get everything in place and it will transform their life. And they'll go on to be a company that employs people. It provides, a community, jobs, security. And that's really what holds our global economies together. 80% of our global economy is
Right.
SMEs. So yeah, that's a great feeling to know that you're making such an impact and supporting the
Love it.
business community across the world.
Hell yeah. Love it. Yeah. With small business owners, everything just feels so much more personal. Like you're, one to one speaking directly to the founder, right? They have their own, they just have a personal connection with every single person within their business. They have a deeper personal connection with
Yeah.
every one of their customers. So the impact that you have feels way more tangible because if you were helping, a Fortune 500 company, the CEO's probably already got a pretty solid lifestyle. And if you help double their business, the CEO situation isn't going to change very much. But if you come
Yeah.
into a small business that's doing, $700,000 a year in revenue and you help take them to 1.5 million, like you completely change that person's life and their family's life,
Yeah.
and they're going to be
Absolutely.
able to have more customers and relationships. It's pretty freaking cool. So that's awesome. And another thing that
Yeah.
you talk about
Absolutely.
is Yes, helping small businesses outperform competitors who do have more money, who have more resources, who have more staff. What you kind of call punching above your weight. So, what does punching above your weight actually look like in practice for these smaller businesses? And what are the patterns that you see in the businesses that manage to grow faster than their initial size or resources that they have available would suggest that they should?
It's all about being able to utilize communication tools such as the internet to really punch above your weight. And what does punch above your weight mean? I think it was a term coined a long time ago when I was working in high tech in 90s in Silicon Valley, where it was the very start of this whole, community of businesses that were built using IP protocol. And that opened up a whole new world of ways that you could grow as a company and spot opportunities and make the most of your delivery. And so when I was doing my master's degree, that was my master's thesis was for SMEs, how they could punch above their weight by utilizing, I think it was Web 2 technologies at the time. So how does it look today? I mean, it's really easy to access sales today, really easy. You can just be a content creator and use a popular social media, a video based social media site. And if you're using it in a regular way and you're entertaining enough, you're going to make seven figures straight off. But that's not a business. That's just making sales. It benefits you. It's a bit of fun. It's entertaining, and it'll probably all be over in a couple of years, right? There's no solid business plan there. Okay, so what does punching above your weight mean? It means behaving like a company that is already achieving its goals rather than a company that chases and looks a little bit desperate to close business. So you utilize all resources available to you, and they don't need to be paid resources. For example, leverage socials and
Mm.
other platforms such as LinkedIn. You're using it in a way to transmit to your client base, to your ideal client, that you are in a certain way, you're achieving certain things already. I'm not talking about BS and, lying about this stuff. But for
Hmm.
example, when you're a larger company and somebody raises a hand and says, I'm interested in learning more, you wouldn't expect to meet the owner of the company in a 1 hour meeting online straight away. What you would expect is for there to be a few steps beforehand before you get into a certain program, just to meet and sort of, say what you're looking for and what you're hoping to achieve. And then there might be a few more steps before you actually connect with the company.
Hmm.
The other thing that large companies do that SMEs miss out on because they're not ready for it is they're not ready for opportunity. So when opportunity comes knocking or they spot an opportunity, they're not in a position to move and take the opportunity and
Capitalize,
run
yeah.
with it because they're already doing all of the work. They're maxed out on time. They're using all their time to do everything in the company. They're involved in finance, in niche, they're involved in every aspect of the business. So the failing is that they don't put systems in place that
Right.
will enable the business to grow. They don't put systems in place to enable the business to get to the point where they can scale, or they try to scale
Yeah.
too soon without those systems being in place. So when an opportunity comes along and you spot it, they can't move on it because they're already maxed out in time and resources. And if they
Yeah.
took an opportunity, it would ultimately lead to too fast growth and failure.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like in order to if you have less resources, in order to compete with somebody who has more resources, by nature you just have to tap into leverage. So then you have to look out there. It's what leverage is available to me, right? Obviously you can take out, a loan and stuff, but that's probably not the type of leverage that you really want to be using, especially as a small business owner and like a risky thing. But anyways, there's a lot of free leverage out there, like social media, like creating content. I guess there's no such thing as a free lunch, but as far as entrance into the platform, entrance into the game, uh, there's no fee to getting on social media and starting to create your content, tell your story, connect with your audience, connect with your target customers. But then also outside of even just getting customers, internal leverage. is what you called systems there at the end. And I think systems are a huge form of leverage within any business, like small to large. Like everybody's focused on creating internal systems that help them get more out of what they have as far as their resources. That's even more important on a small business level. Just getting those internal systems um, really refined and dialed in.
It is, but it's also so much more than that. In fact, in all the time that I've been researching this, the many decades, one figure has reportedly, it's always been the same all the way along, and that is startups that have access to funds because they're in an incubator or because they're being funded by an investor. Startups that have funds are more likely to fail than startups that just get going with seed capital from the founder, for example, or their
Mm,
initial round of supporters. And that's because funded startups and funded SMEs don't have to get creative because the necessity isn't there. Whereas, when you're in a startup situation and you're literally not going to get paid, no one's going to eat, no one's going to be able to afford to, keep their house unless you figure out how to unlock your market with what you have. Then
wow.
then actually they do a lot better. They go on to thrive more. But many of them also find that when they start out, versus what makes them successful are two completely different concepts. So, one of the most important things is figuring out who you are and what you can do to help people out there and what they're looking for. And oftentimes it's something completely different. The power of your network is also another key point of leverage in punching above your weight. So when you're small and struggling, oftentimes it's better to look for collaborations with people who are one step ahead, not too big,
Mm,
but one step ahead. If they're too big, they're not going to want to work with you. But if they're one or two steps ahead, they most likely will collaborate with you. You can do some kind of joint venture together, whether it's a campaign or you create a product between you or some kind of launch, then you're going to benefit from their audience. They'll benefit from yours and also the cross collaboration. Together you gain more visibility. So the power of networks, people that can open doors or people that you can collaborate with. And I would look at your closest competitors as well, because often they are open for a strategic venture, something that you
yeah.
create together. And that can often give you, a real source of advantage to get
Mhm.
going.
Wow. Yeah, very well said. I think strategic collaborations and partnerships like that is a very non-typical idea, non-typical plan. Like, I feel like a lot of us have grown up in this um what's the opposite of abundance? Like the uh zero
Scarcity.
sum, yeah, scarcity, kind of zero sum mindset where it's like I have to win, somebody else has to lose. These collaborations kind
Mhm.
of go against the grain with that, and it's because it's such a creative idea. I feel like it wouldn't come unless you were in a place where you were forced to be creative, forced to be innovative. And I think creativity and innovation really only comes from a place where you're faced with constraints. And your point about having capital constraints, having financial constraints really forces you to get creative and leverage those those kinds of
Yep.
partnerships, collaborations, whatever, those creative ideas. It forces you to get creative, and it forces you to be resourceful and use everything
Yep.
around you. And that is such a good
You're
point. I think
hungry.
that is so cool. Yeah,
You're
you're
hungry. It
hungrier.
makes you
Yep.
hungry and it keeps you hungry. And
Yeah.
you see when companies have lost their hunger and they're well fed and they're overweight, they're no longer competitive because they don't need to be. They're full, they're sated. And,
Right.
they can just maintain and kind of keep it going in a smooth direction. When you're young, the more hungry you are, and necessity feeds into that hunger. And you use that hunger as a way to sharpen your ambition and drive forwards. But you've got to be driving in the right direction. You've got to figure out how to take the unique thing that you can do and make it appealing to your audience and
Yep.
make it easy to buy from you and seamless and less
Mhm.
friction than the next best alternative.
Absolutely. And the on the connection front, on the connection with your target audience, inside your program, which is called Boom Viral, the first foundational piece that you have your people create within your program is called the trust contract. And it's something that looks simple on paper, right? It's only 3 sentences, but you've said that it is the hardest part for people to get right. And I think that kind of ties into the connection piece with connecting to with who your audience is. But can you walk us through what the trust contract actually is, how it is used, and why you believe so many of your clients struggle with it?
Yeah. So the trust contract um, is basically everything that we've been speaking about throughout this podcast. It's about how you identify what you have and make it appeal to that particular group, right? And there's a process that you go through. And I made a few notes on this, right? So um,
Hmm.
basically, the trust contract explains how you help your niche. And a lot of people start without a niche. So first of all, it's identifying your niche. So how you help your niche, what's their pain point, who desire, right? They want to get to a particular place, an outcome, by
Hmm.
your program name, using the method, and the method are your three pillars, your core three pillars. And there's a reason for stating three pillars, and it's a psychological, which is too deep to kind of get into right now. But there's a reason why we always use three pillars in a certain time frame. So if you think of what you have, your service or your product, as a bridge for transformation. It can be a bridge that just is a very short bridge and it just takes them one step, or it could be a much longer, much grander bridge that takes them through a whole transformation process. But essentially, the trust contract is describing how, if they walk across your bridge, what it's going to help them get, what pain points it will solve, in what time frame, and how exactly you're going to do that with your three pillars approach.
And why do you think your clients struggle with something that's just, as short and sweet as something like that?
If you ask anybody, particularly SMEs, in the first 10 years of their business, if you ask the owner what they do, even what their elevator pitch is, well, have you ever done it? Have you ever asked those
Yeah.
people what they do? And what do you
Yeah,
get
even
back?
oh yeah, I think about from myself, like when people ask me what I do, I hear myself like,
What do you do, Ian?
yeah, yeah. So I,
You'll tell me
you
what you
know,
actually do, right? You'll say, "Oh, I work with AI and I do this," and you walk me through all of the services that you have, right?
exactly, yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
And then I go into like my whole tirade of my backstory of how I got into it. It's like, yeah, it's not
yeah.
good. It's not good. I need my own trust contract for
Exactly. And
sure.
if I asked you, like, specifically, what is your transformation process? Like, what is your process method? Um, what would you say?
I've come
It's
up with the
there,
name
right?
for
But
this
you haven't
thing.
found a way to express it or to clarify
Exactly.
it. And
Yeah, we
what's the
were
one
workshopping
thing
it a little bit
aside from
together with like,
trust? Yeah. Aside
yep,
from trust, so trust it stops people from buying from you. What is the one thing that would make people repel or not buy from you or walk past you? What's the one thing? It's confusion, right?
confusion.
It's lack of
Yeah.
clarity. If they don't know what you are and what you do, because they're looking to they want to understand, and most businesses have a level of complexity that make it actually quite hard to describe and say what they do and who it's for. But if you're not able to do that, and it shows a couple of things. It shows, first of all, that you're still going after a whole of market, right? Anybody who's interested vaguely in AI, or anybody who's doing this, or it'll help somebody lose weight, it'll help somebody get fitter. Well, that's like the whole planet. Everybody wants to get fitter. Everybody wants to look better and feel good. That's not good enough. That won't get you a look in. The more general you are, the more overlooked you'll be. So it's better always, you must start in a very narrow market. And the narrower your market, the less people in it, the better, because it means that you'll be able to get visibility quicker, you'll be able to gain authority quicker. And the other thing it will do is, they always say, and this is probably true, your first 100 clients show proof of concept. They show what you've got works, right? You've sold it 100 times over. Your next 100 clients teach you everything that's wrong about your business. So you often get this like quick growth bump, and then it really, really dips. And then you get the second growth phase. And the second growth phase comes from when you figure out how to apply those insights and improve your process. And sometimes it means dropping just a whole load of stuff and focusing on the things that the market is interested in. Because sometimes you believe that everything that you've got is really valuable, but sometimes the market tells you otherwise. Actually, none of this is interesting right now, but this is what we want. The other thing it does, the trust contract, is so it gives you a framework to define what you are to the people that you want to appeal to and how you can help them in what time frame and using what process method. So this forces you into a situation where you need to create a um, signature program, a blueprint, a framework process that is
Mhm.
specific to you. And that helps you to organize your information, your steps, everything about how you onboard a client, make a sale, and also how you get them through the program. Because quite often, a lot of businesses struggle because they don't make their clients accountable for implementing or using things in the way that should happen. So oftentimes, particularly when you have, like an information product or this type of service product, and you're just so glad to get those clients and take money that, you kind of tend to do everything for them rather than them going through the program or going through the
Right.
service and, but not doing it, not implementing what they should. And then, that lack of accountability. So that needs to be built in to that blueprint, to that signature custom process or framework. So the trust contract is like 3 or 4 lines, but it encompasses all of that. And when you meet
Wow.
somebody, that's all they hear, the trust contract, and it should tell them everything that they need to
Yeah.
know about what you do.
Yeah. I think it forces focus. And I think focus is one of the hardest things to do whenever you're starting any business. Um, in those first 10 years, even, right? It's just focusing on one product, one niche, like one avatar, one channel, just focus. Like that's
Mm.
the common thing that I hear as far in all advice for just business owners, like entrepreneurs, just focus, 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 because it's really easy to have ideas. You can have 100 ideas, 1,000 ideas, but everything's in the execution. You can really only execute and do one
Yeah.
thing at a time. Like you just really need to zero in and focus.
And
And I think, you could have made the trust contract this 5-page thing, but I think forcing people to get really specific, really down to the simplest form of this is who I serve, this is the problem that I solve, and this is how I do it,
yeah.
right? Bang, bang, bang. Just 3, 4 sentences, I think is perfect.
You may serve many more clients. You may serve many more niches. You may have many other types of things, but the market just wants to hear about your one thing, right? Because
Right.
then they can understand who you are, and of course, then you can go on and promote all the other stuff. But to start with, just stick to one thing, right? One
Yep.
market, one niche, one thing, because that's where you have to build strong. And you know what, Ian? It's not just startups. I've advised companies that are over 100 years old. They're legacy companies. They're huge. One particular company, I advised their C-suite. I did a 6-month project with them like about 5, 6 years ago. And they they sold one of their best-selling, their core product. They sold one every 8 seconds in the world, right?
Wow.
Every 8 seconds. And it was I guess it would have been like a $45 product, and they were selling one every 8 seconds, 24/7, 365 days a year, right? And so
Wow.
they're very successful, but they were an older company. The management that had been successful had grown up with the company. The CEO had been there forever. The creative director had been there forever. They'd all been there forever. And what they'd done in the 1980s to make the company successful, they were just copy pasting and it wasn't working. And so I went in and we completely, redid, transformed, broke everything down, set it all up again, and they've gone on. And when you look at them now and you look at their website, you think, wow, like they're a really fresh, innovative company. They're really young. They look really vibrant. They look really, like they're serving today's customer needs.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I would argue that a transition like that would almost be harder than getting a business that's two,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 years old to
Yeah.
kind of just, okay, zero in, cut these things
Yeah.
out, just focus,
The,
rebrand,
the bigger you
refocus.
are, the more weight
Yeah.
you've got, you can't pivot. When you're
Yeah.
small, there are many, many opportunities and benefits you've got when you're small. You're dynamic, you can make decisions, your team is so small that you can all discuss it in the same room, in the same time frame, and make a decision on it. You have a direct line of contact with every single client in your business. You're really like in the driving seat and you can feel every bump in the road, right? You can feel the speed
Hmm.
that you're going. When you're in a big company, particularly a multinational. I mean, they were in 80 different countries. They were enormous. They had a different agency, different PR, different marketing agency. They had different departments. They had manufacturing plants in about 8 different countries. I mean, just to get like a new product developed had about 300 steps in it. And it was two
Wow.
years of, checklists and everything. It was insane.
For
So
sure.
sometimes you can become a victim of success, and when you get so big, you're really vulnerable to
Yeah.
competitors coming along because you just can't move that quickly.
And that's one of those advantages going back to, how smaller businesses with less resources can
Yeah.
use the advantages that are available to them. It's speed,
Mm.
moving quickly, and innovating, just completely changing course. It's really easy for a smaller business to pivot and capitalize on a new opportunity, a new segment that arises, and innovate, right? It's easier for them to just change course because there's less red tape, there's less bureaucracy, which is exciting. And that's why,
Punching above
urgency,
your
moving
weight
quick.
and using everything available to you, it is um, not easy, because nothing is easy, but it is realistic for one person, a founder, to get to $1 million turnover, £1 million turnover by themselves, within a couple of years. And then when you get to that point, things change. Between 1 million and 2 million, it becomes a different kind of beast. And at that point, you need a different set of brains in the business to scale and stabilize and drive you forwards than, getting things off the ground and getting a startup and making it successful. You don't have to go
Hmm.
on, of course, and grow and grow and grow. You can stay at that 1 million mark and have a great
Hmm.
lifestyle and provide for your family. Um, but getting there is possible. It's not something that only the few, can attain. It's there for anybody who wants to apply themselves. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that with the AI revolution that's coming, I think the average number of employees per $1 million of revenue in every company is only going to continue to go down, which I think is going to force more people to have to figure out how to create their own value in the world. And by that, I mean,
Mm.
I just think there's going to be more entrepreneurs, like more people that are going to have to figure out how they can solve a problem for other people out there. So I
Yeah.
think there's going to be more
Hmm.
of those kind of entrepreneurs that enter the game. And I
Yeah.
think learning that this skill set will be really important. And obviously, the first step in being an entrepreneur is figuring out what is your product, what is your service, right? And tying that to the problems that you're going to solve. And one of the more powerful frameworks that you shared with me in our conversation a couple of days ago that you teach is what you call the 4-stage sales circuit, and kind of how you design your offer stack and your offer or your product stack that you're going to create. It really was one of those models that as soon as I heard it, it just completely reshapes the way that I think about how my product ladder and customer lifetime value should be thought about. But can you explain the 4 stages of the 4-stage sales circuit, why the order
Yeah.
matters? And yeah, we can start with that.
So the 4-stage sales circuit is how you want to envisage your product ladder. And, there's some important points on there which I'm going to go through now and just kind of give you the top line. Basically, the circuit flow is like 1 through 4. So if you imagine when somebody first comes to you, there's a level of dissatisfaction, right, with their current situation or their past situation. They're dissatisfied so much, and the level of dissatisfaction and the vision that they have is driving them forwards greater than the resistance to making that change. So if they're still resisting change, they're still in a position where they're going to be pushing harder and harder and working more and more hours and trying more hustles. But if they've reached the stage where, they've overcome resistance and they're ready to move on, you kind of look at it when they join, they have like an empty battery, right? So there's always this desire when you're a small company to really satisfy your client. You've heard that, like, leave them like absolutely satisfied, like, give them over deliver the service, wow them,
Right.
give them a great level of service. But actually, that will be more destructive than anything. So I'm going to walk you through the 4 stages, right? So the first stage, let's say we're going to charge their empty battery, but we're only going to give them a 25% charge. Right, we're only going to give them a quarter charge. So really what you want, this is like what Netflix do. Okay. Netflix give you a little bit of a charge. They don't satisfy you because if they did, you wouldn't need to continue on with the subscription. They give you a little bit
Right.
of a charge. Look at the way they market. They give you like a little bit of sizzle here and a little bit of sizzle there, lots of cliffhangers. And in a way, they create this desire that I'm going to Netflix and chill. I can't wait just to switch off from work and Netflix. And you kind of
Mhm.
associate Netflix now with getting a little bit of a recharge, a little bit of a, rejuvenation. It's just like your time. Whereas often that's actually in reality not the case, but they've successfully positioned themselves as giving you a little bit of a recharge. It's your time when you watch Netflix. So, this is really just to make a connection with them, right? And get them to jump into your pond, get them to jump into your product ladder. And in a way, they're paying you for that. So really, how you can do this is you can create a micro membership, which is a low commitment on your side because, the level 1 25% charge, you're not talking a lot of money here. You're talking up to about $25, right? So from 0 to
Mhm.
25. But it's small enough that they wouldn't cancel if there was a little economic blip, for example, but
Mhm.
it's just enough that it covers your costs. And actually they almost as if they pay you to be in your audience, right? They're paying to be a
Right.
part of your community. They get connection, they get conversation, like-minded people. Everyone in there in that pond is swimming in the same direction. They all want to achieve the same thing, which is, you're swimming them towards your ultimate. So obviously with this, it could be, for example, a Netflix type thing, like $10 a month, on repeat. No one's really going to bother canceling that unless, something really terrible happens, because at the end of the day, it's like the cost of a couple of coffees, right? It's nothing.
Right.
Once you start, they don't really miss it. So look for your audience, look for the disposable income they have that they wouldn't miss if something were to go wrong in their life, right? Would they stop drinking their Starbucks coffee? They wouldn't. So how much do they spend on that? Well, they spend $8 a week on it or whatever it is. So that's
Mhm.
the amount that you charge them, right? So circuit number 2 takes them up to about a 50% charge. So now we've got batteries up to 50%, right? This could be, it's more about connection. It's more about belonging. So there's more commitment to it now, more structure, more specificity in the niche. All right. So we're talking about emotional connection, sort of like signals of belonging. So you're talking about codified language that only they speak. So I'm going to use the Marvel comic world, right? That whole enterprise. There are specific characters, which catchphrases, there's certain titles and things. Now, I don't know any of those because that's not really part of my world. But if that
Sure.
was your world and you know all of those, that's the kind of language codification that you want to be using, right? So that people know it's like you're in the right group. They're speaking my language. Literally, they're speaking my language. So that circuit 2, you're talking about anything up to about $500 to 1,000 a month, something like that. It might be, for example, an 8 or a 12-week program. It could be a challenge, a transformation challenge led by you from here to here. It could be a group program, a mentoring. And generally, if it's like a $399 a month or something, or a
Mm.
1,200, 1,500 kind of 12-week program. All right. So the next circuit is 75%. And this is about prestige, right? This is about your ultra premium offer. It's about them being in the 1%, the collective. I work with, I'm not going to name names, but kind of the top guys, entrepreneurial guys that you see out there. They're doing their 35K 12-week program, or, 100K mastermind program, 100K a year or something like that. So this is
Mhm.
your mastermind, your live events, you're flying to Hawaii for a hubbub for, 1 week every 6 months or something like that. It's a hyperlux, ultra premium offer for those people who are, to acquire and sort of investors, that sort of thing.
Mm.
So this is your VIP type situation. And then your circuit for 100% is your ultimate, your X factor. So this could be working with you as more of a collaborative partner, certification, franchise. They then could be part of your universe where they become a trainer, train the trainer. They could become a business partner in some new ventures that you do. So it's highly selective. You could certify them in your particular blueprint, your particular signature framework or process, so that they can teach it under license from you, or showcasing something like that. So when you're
Wow.
doing your circuit, the idea is that you flow them through the circuit. So if they come on a level 1, then you're always looking to migrate them up to the next level. And for
Uh-huh.
the people that have done level 2, you're looking for them to repeat a level 2, but in a different area, and then ultimately become up to level 3 and 4. And there's a specific framework of how you do that. And that's how on the Boom Viral, the advanced one, you can go from 0 up to 1 million in that 18-month period by cycling through these circuits. There's a few, it's like snakes and ladders. There's a few shortcuts that you can hit a snake, hit a ladder and jump up
Yeah.
a couple of levels really quickly, and move them forwards. Yeah.
Love it. And
Does that make
when
sense?
yeah. Oh, yeah. It makes a ton of sense, right? You have a customer is going to show up to you, to your product, to your business, completely dissatisfied with some kind of problem, right? And your whole 4-stage sales circuit is going to take them from 0% charge all the way through to 100%. But you just kind of break that process of going from 0 to 100% satisfaction through 4 stages. And as I'm hearing you explain it, I would assume that would it make sense to start with what your final stage is going to be and then reverse engineer everything from there? So you figure out what that 75 to 100% process is going to look like. Like, what does your 100% solution look like? And then you chunk that down from, okay, this is my stage 4, then I'll do stage 3, then I'll do stage 2, then I'll figure out what stage 1 is. Is that kind of the process that you like to walk people through, where you'll have them envision what the maximum version of their solution will look like, their top tier solution looks like, and then
I, th-
reverse engineer everything from there?
I think ultimately, when you start, you're going to get a lot of no's, because
Yeah,
generally on price point, when you're still learning about how to communicate your value and what your value is, right, you're going to get a lot of no's because you haven't yet mastered how to communicate that. But if you're offering a way for people to experience you and experience working with you and your brand at a price that they can't say no to, so like the price of a fancy coffee or something, they're
yeah,
just going to try it, right? And even if they try it for a couple of months, but most people will try it and then stay, because what happens is, if you provide when you onboard somebody into that community, the more people that you get in a community, the better, because then they start to connect with each other. And
for
once
sure.
that becomes their place, so the entrepreneurial game is pretty hard. You get a lot of mental knocks. You get a lot of you hit a lot of speed bumps while you're figuring it all out. And to be able to go into a place like that, into a community where everyone's trying to achieve the same thing, it's fantastic for mental health, because you're all there to support each other and also
Uh-huh.
share what's working for you that might, cross-pollinate into your particular niche. And then people form those connections and it becomes their place. They make it their place where they see those others. There's no way they could connect with those other people on the outside.
Right.
But let's just do the maths for a moment. So let's say you have a particularly higher priced product, right? Let's say your product is 10,000 to get into. That's the entry level. So you're looking for a particular type of entrepreneur or a particular type of customer. Now, in order to find those customers, it's going to cost you quite a lot of investment in terms of marketing and advertising. But let's say for all the people that come across you who figure out that that's not for them, that's not in their budget, but they still want to learn from you, imagine you putting them into a paid community where they're paying you $10, $15 a month, right? So I've done it for a couple of people in the past. We, by way of a challenge, we launched a transformation challenge. It was only a week long. We got almost 25,000 people signing up for that, who all came into the community after that. So if you multiply, and that was $12. So $12 times 25,000 multiplied by 12 months a year. You got your calculator there?
Yeah, doing it right now. That's $3.6 million.
$3.6 million, right? $3.6 million. And all you've got is a community of people that are just paying $12 a month. So how awesome is that? That anything that you develop in the future, you've got a ready-made tester, beta audience there, forum, focus group to give you. They'll also tell you actually what they're looking for, how they want to do it. They form connections with each other and they'll invite you as the expert to say, hey, can you collaborate with us? Let's do a JV together, right? It's like an
Man.
absolutely perfect storm.
Yeah.
Sometimes I tell people about this and they go, oh, $10, it's not worth my time if it's like $10 a month. Say, but you're not thinking in the right way, right?
Right.
Let's say you only have 10,000 people, right, who are paying you $10 a month, 12 months a year. Even if you do no other business in your business, you've got money coming in. You've got money to invest in training, money to invest in equipment, money to invest in attracting talent, money to invest in marketing and advertising and improving what you do. Plus, you've got a collective of people who are your ICP, or they will be in a
Yeah.
little while, because, when they start to grow. And
Hmm.
by the time they do have a budget to go higher, they're going to want to pick you because you're the expert, and you've been taking care of them all this time. If you're taking advantage of punching above your weight concept, and with your group like that, your paid community, you can bring people in. Let's say you bring in an expert like me, and I'll come and do a mastermind for you, and then people buy from me. Well, then that's more affiliate commission back to you as well, or it will
Right.
lead to other things. There's so many things you can do when you have a paid community. It's a
Yeah.
really powerful thing. Getting people onto Circuit One, or even having a Circuit One, is well worth anybody's time.
Absolutely. I mean, if you just have a community of 10,000, not even 10,000, if you have a community of 1,000 people that are engaged, they are, you know, actively involved in the community, like they're participating, they love it, they really enjoy it, right? They see it as their Netflix, a
Yeah,
way for
yeah,
them to
yeah,
recharge, connect with other like-minded people. Like that can be an absolute game changer. Not even just the $10 a month
yeah.
that those 1,000 people are paying you, right? Like bringing in an extra $120,000 a year in revenue, like just 1,000 people that are at that foundation and they're ready to buy from
Hmm.
you. Like when they're ready to buy from you, they're going to buy from you, is massive. And that's what you want to create for people for Boom Viral, right? And I think going back to the
The
trust contract. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of people, they're slogging and posting daily and doing great content, but they don't have any way to convert that content into paid interest. And all they look for is trying to get the big sale, right? And those things take time because people need to build trust with you. They need to
Yep.
have some kind of experience with you to know that they can work with you. So if you have this set up, and you're doing it all for free. If you're posting regularly on LinkedIn or whatever, you're doing it all for free. It's all on your own time, all on your own wallet. But then you have somewhere, you have an amazing lead magnet or an amazing mastermind that you're doing, or another kind of webinar or something that they sign up for, and they come part of your community, and they come in and there's already like 800 people who are all of a similar background, age, and all looking to swim in the same direction. That's
Yeah.
like paradise for them. What an amazing
Yeah.
environment that you can create for them, an amazing community.
Hmm. And you've talked about the fact that you shouldn't be afraid to over deliver and give away too much to that community,
Mhm.
right? Just
Yeah.
even if
Don't
they're paying you
satisfy
$10
them.
a month. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
For sure. And
exactly. $10 a month doesn't get access to you. All right.
yeah.
Because if they pay $10 a month and they get access to you, then they're not going to pay you 10,000 a month, right, to get access to
Hmm.
you. So, um, Circuit One doesn't give them access to the person like the Ian. It
Hmm.
doesn't give them access to you. But periodically, let's say every 3 weeks or every 6 weeks, you're going to do a mastermind, a series of three masterminds to promote or launch a product or a service or to highlight it. And your three masterminds give them an opportunity to see how they can use it in their business, how it will transform their life for them, their business for them. So your $10 a month Circuit Ones get invited to that as
Hmm.
a free workshop, right? That probably has a very high value, like $1,000 ticket price or something, that you invite them for free. So they get access to you in that live mastermind, and you can make, part of that a Q&A. They can do a live Q&A where they submit questions, and so they get time with you. But that creates more hunger because that's the only time they get with you.
Love it. Love it.
Also
And
make sure
everything
they
that we're
show up and you're well
right.
supported.
Yep. And everything that we've talked about as far as these systems, these things, these uh that businesses should be installing into their business. That's exactly what you do for the clients that come into your Boom Viral program.
Yeah.
But I think if we could go back to and use this as a demonstration for the trust contract, I'd be really curious to know, have you written the trust contract for the Boom Viral program? Like, could you read off, like, what is your trust contract for the Boom Viral program?
I have actually, but let me see.
Yeah. See if you can
I did
find
bring
it.
it up on the screen before we started. I don't know if I'm going to be able to locate it again. That now we just had a little blip in the screen.
All good. But I mean, yeah, if you can, like, the value alone of, hey, you enter the Boom Viral program, I will teach you how to get a community of 500 or more people in a like a
Yeah.
lower tier paid community that are just going to be ready to buy from you, like
Exactly.
prime
I'm
audience,
just going
like
to have
that.
to make it up actually because I seem to have gone off the screen. So it's going to be a 3-pillar approach to get you from struggling in your business to making sales consistently and having a base of income coming in, a growing base of income coming in alongside what you currently do within 6 weeks. Within 6 weeks by um, leveraged viral referrals, by leveraged socials, and by creation of your custom signature blueprint.
Love it. Love it. And earlier in the conversation, you talked about with any info product, right? Anybody that buys an info product doesn't get any value unless they actually take action and implement the things that you're teaching them
Mm-hmm.
in your info product. And this is something that we're working on
Yeah.
together for the Boom Viral program with the transformation engine,
Yeah.
like the thing that I'm trying to figure out how to explain clearly. But I think if you like, why did you make the decision to invest in building the transformation engine for the Boom Viral program to kind of help with the implementation side of things? Like, why did you make that decision?
So I've been teaching the Boom Viral program for about 10 years now. And it came about because UpViral, which is the platform that it runs on, when it first came out, I was one of the first customers. And I've been with them ever since. And I've done projects for myself and also for other clients as well. And I always got way above average results. You know, other people were getting whatever, 10,000 leads and, you know, maybe not even breaking even in sales. And I would get 30,000 leads and 50,000 or 70,000 in sales. And it was like, well, how are you doing this? You know,
Mm-hmm.
Nina Fortuna Franks in London, England. How are you doing this when massive agencies, you know, in other parts of the world are not doing that? And so UpViral started to invite me into their academy to teach the masterminds of how I was doing it. And then I started running masterminds of my own. So twice a year, I do a 12-week mastermind for Boom Viral. And it's very hands-on. It's a small group. I work with business owners and we figure everything out from start to finish. So by the time we get halfway through the program, they're already generating sales. They're already making money and they're a lot more clear and also accountable on what they're doing. They implement every single week. And so but it's very intensive upon me because I'm very hands-on with it. And there is a lot of stuff that they miss because there's a lot goes into the program. They say, you know, can we go over that and can we repeat that? I'm not quite there with it yet. And so the reason why I chose to invest and particularly with Transformation Engine, Ian, with you, is because the companion AI that we'll be creating together will replace me to a certain extent in that the basic foundation steps that the business owners need to have in place in order to get that progress, in order to get that transformation on the program, they can do it in their own time. They can go over it once, 10 times, 20 times. They can come back to it and they can also apply it to other projects as well. So it's a really important aspect that it helps them to get clarity because when you're on your own and you're trying to figure something out, you need to get perspective on it. You need to get clarity on it. And it's very difficult to do that when you're too far into the situation to really see what it is. So the companion AI for Boom Viral will, as it goes through each part of the program, help you gain clarity on what it is that you have and how you can packetize it for the market that you're going after, and then what that's going to look like. So it will do all of the heavy lifting for you. And really, the quality of the inputs is down to the business owner. But in terms of what that will look like, suggestions for how it can play out, how they can monetize it, that's all going to be done by AI. So um, I'm just one person. I can only really do a couple of these masterminds hands-on a year. And so by having this companion AI, people can use it every single day of the year, all throughout the year. They can use it anytime. And sometimes there's part of a program that you don't get it the first time or the second time. You need to keep going over it again. So that's the wonderful thing about this, is that it utilizes one of the most groundbreaking and transformational technologies of our era. It's future-proofed. It will help you future-proof your business. And in reality, it will help you get off the ground and make sure that you're making money by the end of it. And there's no other program out there in the world that will give that to you.
Love it. Love it. As the time of we're
Um,
talking, our recording right now, I love it. Yeah, good stuff. At the time of our recording, we don't have this done yet, but you and I can have a discussion and we can maybe put a sample of one of the companion GPTs that we build out for the Boom Viral program in the description for anybody
mhm.
that's watching this, a
Yeah.
week, 2 weeks, a month from now. And they can go test it out to kind of get a sense of what a companion GPT looks like,
Get a
and then
little
also
nibble.
a deeper sense of,
Mm.
of what the Boom Viral
Yeah,
program looks like. I think that would be great. So we can put that down there
absolutely.
in the description. So you can, if you're
Hmm.
watching this, you can go check that out right now. But
Yeah.
my last question here for you,
And you
Nina,
don't
is
need, I mean, to come on Boom Viral, the whole
yeah,
program was developed for uh, people that literally don't have anything, as well as people that already have something. So,
yeah,
for example, in one of the last masterminds I did, I had someone who was importing just a third party like facial oil for massaging the face, but nothing else. And by
mhm,
the end of the Boom Viral program, she had a signature anti-aging lift massage technique that she was teaching. She had a paid membership that was about $75, that she already had like 24 members in by the end of the program. And part of the membership fee also included a pack of 3 of these oils. So, her throughput from sales went from, like 10 packs, 10 individual bottles a month, up to something like 100 packs that she was selling a month. And that was just in that 12-week period. So that
wow.
was fantastic. And plus, she had all of these other things as well. So a ready-made audience.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. I really excited to get to work on this with you and build everything out in your program selfishly because I'm going to be able to learn everything that you teach your clients and
Yeah.
I can, apply it to my business. So super looking forward to that. But my last question here for you, Nina, is about your program and the goals that you have. So when you look ahead, a year, 2 years down the line, 3 years, 5 years, whatever time frame you want to look at, what do you hope your program, Boom Viral, is known for, and what kind of transformation would you have liked to make in the world, or impact would you have liked to make in the world?
I would like Boom Viral to be the program that is seen to be the place for transformation for small business owners and people who are starting to create their own value in the world, right? Even if you're not creating products, if you're just creating a personal brand, I want it to be the bridge that you use to go from, well, I kind of have an idea, or I'm really not sure, to I'm here, I'm on the first step, I'm making money, I've got clarity, I've got accountability, I'm in the right place with the right people, and I'm opening doors.
Love it. And you got an audience that's built up, ready to buy from you, primed to buy, already buying everything that you need
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
really have that
Well,
initial
that you're
traction.
already
Get ready
making
to scale.
sales. That,
Right.
yeah, that you're already got money coming in, because, there's an investment in the program. Now, some companies who already have a product that they're struggling to sell, they're going to benefit in a way that they can transform their sales process and their market strategy, their positioning, everything. And sometimes that requires some work. So by the end of that, they are selling more product. They're finding better customers. They are getting more sales, and they're getting sales with referrals, and also growing their list. Whereas somebody
Yep.
who doesn't yet have anything or just has an idea is going to start to make sales.
Yeah.
as
which is so
well.
exciting. I'm so excited for the
Yeah.
people that come in that just have an idea, um, and making that first sale, making those first, 100 sales or whatever it is.
Mm.
It's the best feeling in the world. So it's just like you created
Yeah.
something with your name on it and somebody else said, yes, I want that. Like that is, maybe it's a little
Yeah.
egotistical, but no, it is just like the best feeling in the world. It's just like you put in work and other people are finding value in it. It's
There's
it's
nothing
awesome.
better. You don't
Yeah.
have to be, I mean, you know, I'm a master at what I do, but you don't have to be that. All you need to be is a little bit further ahead than the market that you're trying to help. Just
Right.
one step, just a little bit further ahead, just one level up from the market that you're trying to help. Because,
Yeah.
the kind of people I attract won't be the kind of people you attract. You attract the type of audience who is just behind you. That's their
Mm.
level of transition. That's their level of progress. And we all have, markets that we attract who are close to where we are.
Yep. There's something that everybody has figured out how to do well. And there's
Mm.
something that they're one step ahead of somebody from. Like, I truly believe that every single person on this planet has some value to provide to the world, to some group of people out
Yeah.
there. Everybody on the planet has figured something out that they can help other people with. And I'm excited for more people to be, maybe
If we
shoved
look
into
at some of
having to do
the
that and
most
figuring that.
successful creators who've leveraged socials in the past couple of years, you've got someone who just uses a jump rope, right? Someone who uses a jump rope and they just used to post a 15-second routine every day. And now
Yeah.
they've got a whole jump rope membership, a global community. They've got products that they've created in collaboration with well-known manufacturers. They've done like a limited version for themselves. I mean, it's a mega empire and growing. You've got, a pajama business that we spoke about the other day with drops that's based on drops. Every collection there's a new collection drops that is very
Mhm.
seasonal. It sells out within 20 minutes, half an hour, and then the next drop comes. So these are people that are not specialists. They don't have unique knowledge. The girl that skips, um, what happened is she was laid off during COVID. Her company laid her off and she was at home pretty bored. And so she just took up the jump rope to stay fit and started posting it online for a laugh. And then before you know it, she's got 10 million
Wow.
followers a couple of years down the line. And has,
Incredible.
it's opened the door to lots of opportunities that she was in a position to take.
What a world. What a world. Nina,
So, you
thank you.
just need to know, you fly a kite. Can you make sourdough?
Right.
You don't have to have a technical skill or some kind of, unique knowledge from experience. It can be anything at all.
Everybody has something like that. Everybody has some unique gift, something that they've figured out. It doesn't even have to be like, you
Yeah.
don't have to consider it a gift. It's something that you've figured out that you can do well, that you can help the people
Yeah.
that are 1, 2, 3 steps behind you in that skill. And it's super exciting. Super exciting. What a world. Nina, thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else that you didn't get a chance to talk about or share that you want to share with the audience before we let you go?
No, I think that's it really. I just want to encourage anybody who is listening, first of all, be careful, like have some filtration on who you listen to and what you listen to. And money can be made in any way. It's easy, to go about getting a sale on the internet, but you're not looking for a sale. You're looking to create a lifestyle for yourself, a business that supports your lifestyle and doesn't chain you down to, when you get successful, to working harder and more and more and more hours. You're not swapping what you have for 100-hour week where, you have to work more hours in order to make enough money. So start as you mean to go on. What's your vision? What's your destination? Set that. If your destination is that you want to live in the Rockies, off grid and work 3 days a month, just from a laptop, then give yourself 5 years to build that in a smart way that the business will continue to support your lifestyle. So
Uh-huh.
whenever you start something, you always start with yourself. The purpose of a business is to support you, to support your lifestyle, to enable that, to make it happen. So don't start with, I'll run the business, see what I make, and then see what's left for me. You start with, first of all, how you want to live, the lifestyle that you want to live, how you want to do it all, and what that looks like. What money do you need? What resources do you need? And then that's your first step. That enables the first step to happen because you know exactly where you're going.
Wow. Well said. Well said.
That's
Nina,
all I
thank
want to
you so
add.
much
Have
for your,
clarity on the destination before you start.
yeah,
Otherwise,
absolutely.
have you ever, you've flown before, right, Ian? Have you ever boarded a plane where you didn't know what the destination was?
No, nope,
No.
nope,
Exactly.
exactly.
So why would
Yeah,
you start a business if you don't know where you're going?
that's a good point. That's a good point. That kind of hits home for me.
Because when you start a
What
business,
do
you're buying a ticket for the future. What's the destination? It can't be a question mark.
Wow, wow. Everybody go back and listen to that again. When you're starting a business, you're buying a plane ticket for the future that you want to create for yourself. I think that's freaking awesome. And I think, that fires me up because it's, every person that starts a business is taking a bet on themselves to go out and create value in the world and solve a problem for other people, and they're taking
Yeah.
their situation in their own hands, right there. You and I think starting with that is 100% the right piece of advice. What is the lifestyle that I want to live?
Mm,
And okay, once you have clarity on that, that's the lifestyle I want to live. Get really clear, get really specific. Then you can work a corporate job and try and save as much money as you can to get to that point. But a corporate job more likely than not is not going to provide you with the level of freedom that
mm,
you need in order to live whatever lifestyle that you want, right? Like most people don't want to work, 40 hours a week in their
hmm.
ideal lifestyle, unless they're really working on something that you truly love, which is like that's what we're all striving for. But once you get
Yeah.
clarity on that lifestyle that you want to be living, the lifestyle that you want your life to look like, starting a business is you just saying, I'm going to um, take it into my own hands to get myself there. Like I'm not going to wait on other people
Mm,
to give me a promotion, move me up, pay me more, give me the time off that I need in order to do the things that I want to do. Right now, I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to build this machine that's going to enable the lifestyle that I want to live. But I think that's a really good piece of advice: is start with the
yeah.
destination in mind, um, because that's what you should be building for, right? Otherwise, why else do it?
How we're wired, how human beings are wired is to have control of our destiny, right? To have agency of self. It's not, yes, we're social creatures and we communicate, but actually it's to have self-mastery over, control over your life. And so if you're ceding that in exchange for security, I would agree with that. Like years ago, but from what I've seen in my career since I left school to where I am now, I've never seen stability or security in any company. I mean, companies that are hundreds of years old, that have trillions of dollars, are falling like packs of cards. They're folding all around us. So I don't
Yeah.
believe that security and stability exists anymore. You have to create it. And
Mm.
beyond trends, beyond governments, beyond policy, beyond economic trends. It's got to
Yeah.
be something that is yours, that you have agency over, and that you build and you build for life. And then you've got options. You can sell it because somebody, when it becomes successful, which it will be with Boom Viral, then you're going to have people knocking at the door all the time. I'm interested. I want to buy your company. So you can exit. You've got some exit options, or you can keep it and you can grow it, or you can bring
Hmm.
on partners to run it while you step back. You've got options. No matter how
Yeah.
brilliant you are and how talented and whatever hourly rate or bonus or retainer you get, you will never be satisfied working for somebody else if you have that kind of wiring, right? You just
Yeah.
won't. Some people want to, and that's fine. They won't be the kind of people that are looking at Boom Viral or
Hmm. For
Transformation
sure.
Engine. But if you are, and I know you are, then yeah, now is the time to do it. Don't wait because the world is rapidly changing. The best time to start would have been yesterday. The next best
Hmm.
time is today.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening to my conversation with Nina Fortuna Franks. I had three main takeaways from this conversation. First, small businesses can punch above their weight, but only through leverage, systems, and speed. Nina talked about how bigger companies lose their hunger and become slow and heavy, while small teams can move fast, collaborate, and capitalize on opportunities. Number two, confusion kills sales, and clarity is the antidote to confusion. Nina's trust contract framework forces you to answer a few simple questions to equip you with that clarity. Who do you help? What pain are they in? Where are you taking them? And what is your specific or unique method to getting them there? That level of focus on one niche and one signature process is what turns a vague offer into an offer that the right people actually say yes to. And three, durable businesses are built on circuits or flywheels, not just one off big wins. Her 4-stage sales circuit gives people a way to pay just to be in your world, then graduate into bigger transformations or offers over time. That model does two important things. It gives you recurring revenue, and it gives you a warm audience of people who already bought in by the time you present a higher level offer. If this episode resonated with you, there are two clear things that you can do next. For Nina, you can connect with her on social media using the links in the description and check out all the free resources that she shared in this conversation and is willing to share with you, the audience, in the description below. If you're a small business owner who wants to build a real growth engine, not just constantly chasing the next sale, which I can absolutely resonate with, her world is a very good place to be. For my side, if you're an info product creator, so an author, course creator, or coach who wants to close the client execution gap and scale the results that you're delivering, check out the Transformation Engine Toolkit in the description. It's designed to help you build your very own transformation engine, what I'm working on Nina with, so clients actually implement and do the work that you tell them to do, which increases the quality of your product and the retention of your clients over time. Don't forget to subscribe. It's free, and you can always change your mind. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one.